guys, what's up? It's Shelby and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Mystery Monday video for you guys. This case is definitely interesting and it is a little bit shorter, but it definitely takes a couple turns here and there, which I find really interesting about this case. So let's just go ahead and get right into this video. Today we're going to be talking about the Reinert family. I'm pretty sure that is how you say it. We're going to be talking about Susan, who was a single mother at this time. She was divorced. She had 2 kids. Karen, who was 11, and Michael, who was 10. Like I said, she was divorced, and it is said she was divorced because she had been having an affair with a teacher at the school that she worked with. She was a full-time teacher, and they lived in Pennsylvania. Once Susan's divorce was final, she got with a man called William Bradfield, who also was a teacher, so this could have been the man that she was having an affair with at this time. Friends and family around her saw their relationship as very stable and very long-term. There didn't seem to be a lot of problems in this relationship. It didn't seem like he was treating her bad or that she was unhappy in this relationship, and the kids didn't seem unhappy either. The relationship was getting so stable that Susan actually changed all of her life insurance policies to have William as like the main guy. Like, you know, if she passed away, he would get the money. You know what I mean? I can't think of what it is called. Beneficiary, that's what it's called. He was the main beneficiary to get all of her life insurance stuff and like all of her wealth. She also left her estate to him as well. And right before she and her 3 kids went missing, she also left William like a lot of money, like not just like 20, 50 bucks. We're talking about like thousands of dollars. On June 22nd, 1979, a neighbor said that she saw Susan and the kids getting into the car, and Susan was so frantic. She was like rushing the kids into the car, and then they just drove off. But to her it wasn't odd, because it really isn't odd to see a mother kind of frantic getting her kids in the car. The neighbor might have thought she was just late for something, getting the kids somewhere or something like that. So it didn't seem off to her until they came missing. 3 days later, police got a call that there was a car parked somewhere, and it actually matched the description of Susan's car. So the police went out to check out this car, and they actually found Susan in the trunk. Not only was Susan naked, but there was obvious signs that she had been bound and beaten, and she was said to have been bound with a chain. And the kids were nowhere to be found. Susan went in for an autopsy, and it came back that she was raped, beaten, and bound with a chain, like I said. She was also injected with a lethal dose of morphine. Now, the sad thing is that this morphine was not injected until 24 to 36 hours after the rape and beating. So she was conscious and alive during the rape and beatings. And then almost a whole day later, she was injected with this morphine. So, of course, the first person you're going to think of is William, because he really is like the only person of the Reinert family that didn't go missing. He was just totally fine. And so the police started investigating him, and that is when they found out that Susan not that long ago put all of her life insurance and her estate in William's name. So during this digging, they also found out that William was not as faithful as he seemed to be. He was actually having an affair with at least 3 different women, and when asked about these affairs, he said that none of the women knew. So that means that Susan didn't know about the other women, and the other women didn't know about Susan or the other women. What I kind of think could have happened was maybe Susan did find out about one of the women he was having an affair with, or all 3 of them, and that's why maybe they got into a big fight or something, and that's why she was leaving so frantically. Maybe she was just angry and took the kids and just wanted to get away for a while, and maybe that really angered William and he ended up murdering her. But you never know, that it also could be that he wanted to murder her because he had all this money and this estate left to him. In 1981, William was actually convicted for the misappropriated use of Susan's money. So Susan, like I said, gave William a lot of money before she eventually went missing and passed away. And she wanted this money to be invested for her kids. She wanted these to be put into trust funds and stuff like that for her kids specifically. She didn't know how to do that, but he did, so she gave this money to him, and she even wrote that in her will, that, you know, like, all the money in my life insurance, you know, is getting put to my kids and stuff like that. But because the kids weren't 18, William was in charge of it until they were 18. But he was just spending this money. He didn't put it in any banks, any interest, or anything like that. So that is how he was convicted of misappropriating her money. He spent 2 years in prison, and in 1983, just when he got out, he was convicted again. Some new evidence, I guess, came in, and the police had enough to convict him of plotting the murder of Susan and her 2 kids. For, like I said, her insurance money and the estate and stuff like that. And still, at this time, these 2 kids were nowhere to be found, but the police did ultimately presume them as dead. So, into furthermore investigation, they kind of speculated that William didn't actually work alone. They were starting to look into the principal of the school that the 2 of them worked at, Dr. J. Charles Smith. The police speculated that William plotted all of this out, and Smith actually was the one to murder Susan and the 2 kids. His lawyers, though, acted a little bit odd. They never ever said that he didn't do it. They were trying to say that William just was putting all this stuff out there so that it would take the blame off of him and put it onto somebody else for these murders, but they never outright said that Smith didn't do it. They pretty much were just trying to say that he was being I guess framed, or trying, you know, to get the attention put on him. Trials began, and William actually was serving 3 life sentences for plotting the murders of the 2 children and Susan. And Smith was actually found guilty of murder of the 3 of them. First, he was convicted of 3 counts of murder, but then his sentence got switched to actually getting the death penalty. In 1988, William actually passed away in prison. He never ever mentioned anything about Susan or the kids before he passed away or anything. You know, sometimes prisoners on their deathbeds will, you know, confess to stuff because they're already about to pass away, so they will confess. But he didn't say anything about Susan or the 2 kids. And like I said, these 2 kids were still technically missing. In 1989, Smith's conviction was actually overturned because the police did unethically get evidence to convict him, so he was overturned and let out of jail. The police tried to get a retrial, but again, it didn't really pan out because they did use unethical ways to get him convicted. In 2009, Smith actually passed away from a heart disease, and just like William, he didn't say anything about Susan or the kids at all. He pretty much kept quiet about it. So a couple shady things about Smith was that when he was actually convicted, he was already in prison for drug smuggling and intention to sell drugs or ship drugs, or something to do with that. So he was already kind of shady to the police. Also, it came out that his own daughter and his son-in-law actually went missing in 1978, just a year before Susan and her 3 kids went missing and ultimately found murdered. But those two were just have said to run away, but there is a lot of shady stuff on this guy, obviously. So to this day, there has been no actual real convictions for Susan's murder or the murders of her 2 children. Like I said, the children are presumed dead by now, but there technically is no evidence that the kids are dead or alive because they have never been found, their bodies have never been found, and there's never been any sightings of them, so they could well be still alive somewhere, but it is very, very unlikely. But that's all there really is. So technically this case is unsolved. Like I said, it was like unsolved and then solved and then unsolved, so it's like they never really had a strong lead in this case or a suspect that they could actually truly convict. But that is it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see next down below. Don't forget to follow my social medias. They are all linked down below as well. I post on Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30 Central Time, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!